I've had a rather short and modest bucket list. I don't want to travel to any faraway or exotic places, so much of my bucket list has been achieved over the years, except for one item. I wanted to perform in a musical. It almost happened. My sophomore year in college, I was cast as the lead in Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. And 2 weeks later, I had an offer to transfer to Gettysburg College. And the rest is history. I pretty much ditched that dream. I was far too busy doing the work of pastor to entertain such frivolities. Until I met Professor Mel Michel, who was part of the drama department at Clarion University. She became a member and a dear friend, and became hell-bent on casting me in some musical. Well, Mel tragically up and died. And the university has now scuttled their fine arts program, including theater. So it's done. And that's okay, because as I've gotten older, there really was only one role I ever wanted to play. And that was Don Quixote, the Man of La Mancha. He has always been my role model. He embodies all of the biblical prophets from Isaiah to Jeremiah to John the Baptist. He was a dreamer. I never really liked the musical all that much, except for the final scene. It was Don Quixote dying and reflecting on life and living. He looked back over his life at all those who have died around him. And he says, as he looked into their eyes, he realized they were not asking the question why they were dying, but why they had never lived. And he launches into a musing about life and madness, and comes to the conclusion that the maddest thing in all of life is to see life as it is and not as it should be. To see life as it is and not as it should be. And with that, he rises from his bed and launches into song. To dream the impossible dream. To the right the unrightable wrong. To follow the unreachable star. This is my quest. And with that, he dies. This season of Epiphany is an invitation to dream impossible dreams, to reach the unreachable star. And isn't that what the Magi do? Those exotic foreigners from the East, sorcerers, priests, magicians, sages, mysterious men from mysterious lands. They don't quite fit in that nice, neat, parochial view that the people of Israel had. They pushed the borders. They're uncomfortable folks. It's no wonder Luther renames them the wise men. Domesticates them a little. But these wild foreigners come bearing their gifts because they have seen a star, a portent of some universal encounter with the holy, the divine. And they have come to see it, to bear tribute to this one who has come from God, this King of Kings and Lord of Lords. They come. For they are not just dreamers. They dare to take a step, to travel across the desert, to find that one born. This season of Epiphany invites us into God's dream, a dream that began in that manger of shalom, of wholeness, of reconciliation, not only with each other, but with God. And God takes the first step in reconciling us to himself through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus the Christ. And then invites us to continue that process in our lives, in breaking down the barriers that now separate us from one another, in families, in communities, between nations and faiths. And not just to dare to dream, but to act. It is poignant that during this season of Epiphany, we will remember the lives of two such active dreamers. The first we recognize each year, Martin Luther King Jr., who had a dream of a nation where race no longer defined, where there was equality. He worked tirelessly on that dream, even giving his life. But this week, we will also recognize another who had a dream. His name was Jimmy Carter. He had a dream of peace and justice in the world and worked tirelessly for that. But perhaps even more important for us, he had a dream that everyone should have a home. And literally, physically, worked that dream well into his 90s, wielding hammer and saw to make that dream a reality, at least for some. Because it is the small steps. It is one hammer blow at a time. It is one reconciled relationship. It is one step closer to peace and justice that makes that dream a reality. It is God's dream that we be one, even as Jesus and he are one. And so we take those first steps this season. What's one thing, one relationship, one step that we can make this year to bring their dream closer to reality? And what is your resolve? To dare to see the world not as it is, but as it should be. And to dare to live into that impossible dream. This is my quest. I will follow the star, no matter how hopeless and no matter how far.